Hi, thank you for stopping by. Okay, so today we're going to be checking out videos about the food in America. A lot of people are complaining about how the food is bad for their health and how they have seen the difference with food in other countries and how it has a lot of, most of it actually are not fresh food. A lot of them have some preservatives in them that are not good for people's health, and that is the reason why a lot of people end up in the hospital. Many people have seen the improvement of their health and their physical, like their body, how everything has changed for them when they changed what they eat. And food is a very important aspect of our life. Whatever you take inside of you actually will define what happens to you, like how healthy you're going to be or not. So sometimes a lot of people have had to lose so much weight even when they eat a lot, and so it's just so many things that needs to be talked about. So we're going to be checking out this video and hear what people actually think about this whole situation and what their experiences are and what made them actually come to the conclusion that the food is bad. But before we get right into this video, I need you to please click the like button. It helps with the algorithms, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time. Let's get right into it.
I don't want to eat anything anymore, and it's not in an eating disorder way. It's in a everything is made out of chemicals and tastes like plastic now way. I don't know what's been going on the last few months, but every next meal just tastes more and more synthetic than the last. It's disgusting. I'm like I'm literally sitting here. I'm very hungry, and everything I'm going through my brain that I could possibly eat, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. All were my favorite foods a few months ago. That and just choosing what to eat. Do I want the cancer-causing chemicals, or do I want the chemicals that are going to cause my blood not to clot in 5 years? I make jokes with my roommate all the time about how I wish I could just have a cube of nutrients that would keep me alive. And I'll take my little foodie cubie and be good. And I'm lazy. I cannot be Nora Smith. I will keep purchasing the food and eating it to stay alive, but I'm not happy about it. Once again, not in an eating disorder way. I have a healthy relationship with food. All the food is nasty. All the food is poison. That is my problem.
I'm an immigrant from Eastern Europe, and American food is actually terrifying to me. When I first moved here, I lost my appetite for nearly a year. My body could not physically process food from Walmart or Publix. I felt like shit. Not even talking about low-quality fast food restaurants like Wendy's, McDonald's, or Dunkin' Donuts. So at first, I was thinking there was something wrong with my health because I didn't have any appetite whatsoever, but as soon as I got to eat food from my home country, it completely went away, like it wasn't even there. At this point, my appetite has more or less balanced out because I've been trying to eat as naturally as I possibly can, but that issue is still there, and to this day, I will choose Eastern European homemade food over anything else. I think it's insane that the same exact brand, a bottle of ketchup, the ingredient list in Eastern Europe is like this, and here it's like this. One thing I gotta say, like, there's definitely healthy organic food options out there, but why do I have to pay 3 times more to get something without cancerogenic dyes or other poisonous ingredients in it? Like, what? Oh, and another thing that bugs me, after people start getting sick from eating that amount of artificial stuff and artificial dyes and then go to the doctor to get prescribed with something to make them feel better, the medicine has the exact same dyes and the exact same poisonous ingredients as the food. Like, I don't understand that, but I get the idea behind all of it. America is fucked for that.
This may be a bit controversial, maybe not, but since I was diagnosed, me and my mom have been putting in research about food and what we should do now that I have cancer, how I should manage my diet, what water I should drink. So we have completely cut off carbs, sugar, we cut off meats, and I'll tell you why. We even switched the water I'm on to an alkaline-based water. I think me being on this diet is helping a lot with chemo. It's been like a really bad couple of days, but it's getting better. But getting to the controversial part, I think if I wasn't living in America, I wouldn't have cancer. Now, you might be asking, how did you come to that conclusion? So we know carbs and sugar feeds cancer, so of course that's why we're gonna cut that out. But why are we cutting out the meats? In America, all of our food compared to other countries, I don't know if there are others that do this too, all of our food is processed and pumped full of hormones. The type of cancer I have, ovarian cancer, is a hormonal cancer. It also feeds on hormones. And what is pumped full of hormones? You guessed it, meat in America. My brother is currently in Iraq visiting family, seeing how the place is, and he's loving it. And he was just telling me how the food there is in such small portions compared to the food we serve here, and yet he gets so full and he's losing weight. He's healthy there. And this guy has like allergies to every little thing on earth. I'm exaggerating, but still. My mom also told me that when she was in Turkey, she would eat the same foods that we'd have here, but over there, her blood sugar never went high. It was always healthy, and she got to eat whatever the fuck she wanted. Everything she ate never raised her blood pressure. She never had an issue with her diabetes, but the minute she came home to eat food, it was haywire. She's weak. She's in a bad state. It's just horrible. In America, we specialize a lot more with medicine, like with cancer and heart disease and diabetes, obesity, because of the food we feed our people. And the food we feed is so cancerous that I'm pretty sure our country has the highest population in cancer. I was just telling my friends and my family, if I was living in another country, I probably wouldn't be diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer at 19 years old. And I do want to leave America. And like some people are like, oh, why don't you leave? I wish I could, but with what money? What am I going to do? Especially now that I'm sick. I just think that here it's a little fucked up. And we're burning.
One of the things I love about food in Africa is that you don't have to pay a premium to not have chemicals in your food. So when you come to America, you might see prices like this, $3.19 for a gallon of whole milk. That sounds good, but that's the nasty stuff that's full of hormones and it's just, I wouldn't drink it. If you want to have stuff that's actually organic, you have to pay $12 a gallon to get the stuff that doesn't have hormones. So you're paying 4 times as much just to have healthy milk. Go figure. Anyway, that's why I love African food so much more.
Like, I was trying to buy meat one day, and then the meat cost more, like it was more expensive, and I was like, oh my god, that's like, very pricey. And it's supposed to be that the animal was ate grass, like grass fed, and I'm like, duh, lamb is supposed to eat grass. Like, what are you feeding it before? I don't know. It's just so weird to me, because it's like some things that these animals are supposed to do naturally, or you even see chickens that they be like, oh, this chicken actually roamed freely, so it costs more. And it's like, that's what they are supposed to do. Like, that's what they're supposed to do. So why are you charging so much more for something that these animals were naturally created to do, and they're just doing what they naturally do, and you're telling me that it costs more to get an animal that does the natural thing it's supposed to do, that eats the natural food it's supposed to eat the way it's supposed to be? It costs more? Really? And like I said, they actually lie about some of them. They just tell you they're organic, but I feel like some of them are just not organic. They might reduce some stuff that they usually do to the ones that are maybe cheaper.
Okay, I have a quick story about American food quality and the effects of American food and eating it. So our daughter has been going to a French immersion school for the last 7 years, and so we've gotten to know a lot of the teachers who are usually French teachers coming over here in most cases on a contract. And so we've talked to them about this, and I've heard multiple times from teachers something along the following lines. It's really weird. I came here and I've been eating the exact same diet, exact same food, everything the same. I walk, exercise the same amount and everything. I put on 10 to 15 pounds during the school year. I go back to France in the summer, weight comes off. So this isn't talking about the poison and the health issues and everything, but obviously there's something in our food. They're eating the exact same food, different quality, and it's causing them to just balloon up and bloat and all these other things and gain weight. So my question is, what the hell are they putting in our food that's doing that? Anecdotally, for us as a family, when we have gone over to Europe for, like, say 3 or 4 weeks, and we eat, we drop weight, and we also feel healthier. Just anecdotally, we feel good. And we're on vacation, we're splurging, right? We're having baguettes every day, or pain au chocolat, or, whatever it is, like eating pasta in Italy and, saying yes to dessert, because we're on vacation, right? So we're not really eating better in that sense, like relative to what we would have here if we did that in America. I don't even want to think what would happen. And we feel good. And, people say, oh, it's the walking. No, we walk a lot here too. 10,000 to 20,000 steps a day. So it's not it. So there's just something very wrong with our food supply in America. So for us, a big reason for going overseas is trusting the food. We don't trust the food in America anymore. Absolutely not at all. In fact, it's beyond don't trust. It's absolutely sure that the food is poisoning us and it's making us sick. That's where we've gotten. And you'll see lots about that here on TikTok. And I've lived it anecdotally, had that experience, and am convinced of it, and have just lost all trust. And it's just very simple. They ban all of the stuff that we allow in our food here. There's something like 3,000 ingredients or something that they don't allow. Like, for example, in the EU, they don't allow these ingredients, and we happily in America put them in our food. So there you go.
The American food system is poisoning us, and the way that you can tell is if you have bloating, your stomach is super hard after you eat, if you have migraines after you eat, if your joints hurt all the time, if you go to the doctors and the doctors have no clue what is wrong with you and no one can figure out why. They just give you a bunch of supplements, give you a bunch of medicine, and nothing helps. If you have really bad bowel movements, if you are passing gas all the time, if you have moments of paralysis, some people do, some people don't. If you are exhausted all the time and you have really bad brain fog, like you cannot get out of your own way. This is because of food. If you go to Europe and you go to other countries around the world, they don't have these same problems that we have. So, how do we change it? I have no idea. I want to, because it affects my everyday life, and no one can help besides eating European food. So, does anyone have any ideas?
When I go to Italy and I'm like, oh my God, I could eat pizza and gelato every single day and I lose weight and feel great.
In 2018, I was diagnosed as a pre-diabetic, which means that I was on the verge of diabetes, but I didn't actually have diabetes. And that was because my diet was bad. I was not eating anything healthy at all. And even when I did eat healthy, my health wouldn't really improve like that. So on top of my doctors telling me to adjust my diet, I was even prescribed metformin at one point, which is to lower blood sugar. Anyway, that summer I went to Ivory Coast to go visit family, and I ate considerably greasy food. I ate grilled chicken and fried plantains and lots of stew. And I also ate a lot of carbs like cassavas, or what we call achike. I also probably drank more Fanta than water. But despite all that, what I noticed on the trip is that my skin, it cleared up. After the trip, I returned back to the States. I had a physical, I did a bunch of tests and etc. I was really scared that my health got worse because of what I ate. But bro, I'll never forget this. When I got my results back, my doctors told me that my health improved and that I lost weight and that I should continue what I'm doing. What? That's what I knew. America's food is killing us, yo. I'm about to move out of here for my health.
So, food in America is poison. I've been in France for 2 months now, and I haven't had to use Tums once. Not once. And I'm poor. I've been eating poverty food, like bread, cheese, the bare bones basics food, not like the health nut, top-notch, expensive stuff. Poverty food. And if I tried to do that in America, which I was doing in America, I'd have to take Tums because everything has, oils and just, gives me heartburn. I literally haven't had heartburn once since I've been here. I just realized this 5 minutes ago and I was like, wait, what? There is clearly something very wrong with the food in America. I've never felt this clean.
In researching the Junk Food Isn't Bad For You article from a panel of U.S. experts quoted in the Daily Mail, I wanted to look at what our diet trends had done as Americans as processed food increased and what happened to our waistlines in response to that. So I looked for graphs that were looking at how our diets had changed and what had happened to our weight, our propensity for diabetes, and our waistlines. And I found this really surprising graph. What it showed that was between 1970 and 2010, which at the time of this article was thought to be the peak of the obesity pandemic, which of course got a lot worse as the actual pandemic got to us. The two things that changed in the American diet more than sugar were actually eating grains, which were mostly the advertised whole grains that we were told to eat, and also more fats in the form of the fats that we were told were healthy, fats from seed oils. So butter in our diet was replaced with things like canola oil, safflower oil, and sunflower oil. Now, what about the grains? It turns out the grains we were eating in the form of whole grain bread was often laced with potassium bromide, something that's used to anesthetize dogs, which used in small amounts in bread can improve the texture. Potassium bromide has been banned in Canada and Europe and other parts of the world because it can cause problems with your thyroid, possibly increase the risk of cancer, and increase your appetite. So why have we gained weight as Americans? We're being poisoned.
Average American adult's diet is right around 60% ultra processed fake or food like product food.
That's insane.
Ultra processed foods is where you start off with maybe a field of corn, and somehow, some way, that field of corn becomes a bowl of Lucky Charms. It's gone through so many different processes, you can no longer discern where it comes from. And there's so many additives, so many preservatives, so many different synthetic, newly invented chemicals that this is no longer truly a human food. This is a food-like product. And that is the majority of our diet here in the United States.
So I know a lot of the reasons why things are done the way they are right now and why many food is actually made the way they are made is actually simply because of profit. And we know a lot of people who run these businesses actually love profit. They love to make as much as they can. They would actually dig deep regardless of what it costs to actually get so much more profit from it. And I have noticed with like the food in the US, be it like with animals and other stuff, like they grow so fast and like they be so big. And it's like I have actually seen differences when it comes to cows, to chickens, and sometimes chicken thighs that I've seen. I'm like, what the hell? Like I have never seen a chicken thigh that is this big in my life. So it's like it's a lot of shock. And it's like it's weird because I know they are actually shots with different type of steroids and hormones. Sometimes you find yourself eating more to actually make up for the lack of nutrients that might actually be in those food that are natural.
America, we have a problem. So taking trips out of the country really taught me a lot about America. But let's get into the foods. So majority of the food that I ate outside of America was literally so fucking fresh. Like chicken on a stick. You hear me? The fruit, literally different. Nothing tastes the same. So then I got to thinking, what are we really eating in America? So let's look at these ingredients. Boom, we got the Cheerios, canola oil, and/or sunflower oil. Let's look at these Fruity Pebbles. This is wild. Yellow 6, yellow 5, blue 1, red 40. These kids. And look at these ladies. Let's get into this. Now, why do y'all got milk in these fucking chips? Like, be so serious. Like, on top of the soybean and sunflower oil, like, vegetable oil. Like, come on. Go to your cabinet. Look at the ingredients.
The bread specifically, when I go to other countries, I can eat a lot more bread and feel way less bloated and inflamed. And here in the United States, I swear on my life, I have one piece of bread and I do not know what they put in that, but I am immediately feeling like absolute crap.
We want to turn now to a series of stories that we are doing this week on how U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries. CBS's Holly Williams goes in depth to show us how some of these ingredients may be linked to cancer and other health-related issues.
From baguettes to focaccia, Europe is famous for its bread, but one ingredient is missing. Potassium bromate is a suspected carcinogen that's banned for human consumption in Europe as well as China and India, but legal in the US, where it's used by some food makers to strengthen dough and estimated to be present in over 100 products.
There is evidence that it may be toxic to human consumers, that it may even either initiate or promote the development of tumours.
Professor Eric Millstone is an expert on food additives and told us European countries take a much more cautious approach to food safety.
Can we say for sure that these differences in regulations mean that people in the US have developed cancers that they would not have developed if they'd been eating only in Europe?
I think that is almost certainly the conclusion that we could reach.
It's not just potassium bromate, but many other chemicals and substances that are banned here in Europe over health concerns, but considered safe by the FDA.
Do you think most Americans are aware that they're being exposed to substances that are viewed as dangerous over here?
They probably just think, well, if it's available and it's in the store, then it's probably fine.
Stacey McNamara is from upstate New York, but has been living in London for 10 years. She told us raising children on this side of the Atlantic has opened her eyes to what's allowed in food in the US. She has no plans to ever move back home.
And is food safety a part of that decision?
For sure, yeah. How am I going to protect my children when it's just everywhere?
In a statement to CBS News, the FDA said that when used properly, potassium bromate converts to a harmless substance during food production. But at the same time, Nora, it acknowledged that not all potassium bromate may convert, saying control measures can minimise the amount in food.
If America's food wasn't so shitty and filled with chemicals, the sheer sight of all the malnutritioned people would make significantly more people believe that we are in an economic crisis in the U.S. So we all agree that America functions as a business, right? I'm just going to assume that you agree, all right? They make the food really shitty and inaccessible, especially to those in poverty, so that it can make us sick and that we get on medication, keep going to all these doctor's appointments and spending money on said doctor's appointment and picking these jobs that have good health insurance. And all of this could be solved if we just had less chemicals and more accessibility to healthy foods. Y'all know I have been on a health journey since May. My body has changed significantly. I've dropped the most weight that I've ever dropped. I got my period back. I feel better. And this journey is so difficult because the cost of food has gone up significantly, but the quality of the food has gone down or stayed the same. So trying to navigate what I can and cannot eat and what's accessible to me has been very difficult, which is why when you go to places in America that have a lot of poverty, instead of the majority of the people being underweight like you see in a lot of other countries, most people are overweight, which should tell you how shitty and polluted the food is. I think maybe if we started eating the rich, we'd all have a little bit more nutrition, you know?
Why is it literally so hard to buy anything in this day and age? I'm about to buy this bag of chips, right? Organic white truffle potato chips. And then I turn it to the side to see the ingredients, and this product, it can cause cancer. How can an organic bag of chips, organic, cause cancer? I'm so tired of not being able to just eat anything, anywhere. What the hell?
Let me explain why we are so in America in terms of our health. Here is the average day for most Americans. They start their day off with something like this. It says 40 grams of sugar. America does really run on Dunkin', so most Americans, boom, 40 grams of sugar and caffeine to start their day. And then for breakfast, maybe they're trying to eat healthy, so they get this healthy cereal, but they're still going to ingest about another 16 grams of processed sugar. For lunch, it's very common in this country to have a sandwich of some sort. This is usually made with a heavily processed bread like this. And yeah, I know it says whole wheat. That seems good, right? This still has tons of additives, tons of preservatives, and we're adding in another 6 grams of sugar. Oftentimes, the side dish is going to be something like Cheez-Its. Here, we're getting very, very little nutrition. So after this lunch, they usually crash again. Maybe they have some more of that Dunkin' Donuts coffee. But let's move on to dinner. Dinner is oftentimes more gluten. Frozen meals and frozen food became so popular in the United States, but the problem is they became more devoid of actual nutrition. Here we're getting even more processed sugar, more gluten, and not a lot of nutrients from this. And then maybe for dessert, they're trying to be healthy again, so they get these raspberries. They think, there's some raspberries, some chocolate, it's not that bad. And while they're right, there's worse options out there. 10 pieces of this, which let's be real, you're probably gonna eat like 20 pieces, is gonna give you another 20 grams of processed sugar. It is no surprise to me that we are almost at 50% obesity, that diabetes is on the rise, and also that mental health issues are on the rise. We now know the connection between our gut and our brain, and foods like I just showed you are not really contributing to good health. Of course, people always hate in the comments below, being like, I have Cheez-Its sometimes, I'm really healthy. What I just described, you know it just like I do. That is a pretty common day in the life of an American. What I would highly recommend doing is adding in more real food into that day. More protein, foods like eggs, Greek yogurt, salmon, beef. And when you want something sweet, try adding in actual fruit. Processed foods like this have rewired your taste buds, so there might be an adjustment period, but when I eat a real raspberry, man, I love it. That is the food that God put on this earth for me. And in the day I just described, you're getting an extra 80 to 100 grams of processed sugar. Wake up to the fact that you are being poisoned throughout your day and start eating more real food.
They'll create a problem and then be trying to give you the solution, and it's like the solution could have just, just leave things as is, like things the way they were naturally, like just leaving them naturally the way they are and not trying to do too much on everything. I understand everybody's trying to invent stuff, everybody's trying to do business, everybody's trying to find ways, but I feel like some of them are just pure wickedness, because you're tampering with some natural stuff the way it has been, like the way nature has left it. You are actually causing problems for people, and they'll create the problems, create ways for you to actually fall sick, and then tell you that, hey, here's the treatment for it, but it's not actually to even totally heal or get you to actually be totally for you to recover from it, they need you to actually be sick, because that's the way that people actually profit from businesses. Like, that's the way they profit, by creating a problem for you and then giving you the solution. And we would have less problems if people actually stay out of, or greediness, like just greedy humans stay out of tampering with nature, tampering with a lot of stuff, the way God has made them, the way those things just grow naturally from the soil. Or, you know, scarcity mentality, where everybody's feeling like, oh my God, like, yeah, we need to do this stuff, we need to, you know, mass produce this, we need to find a way to actually make this to grow bigger than it should be, we need this to grow faster than it should grow, because you know, our population is too much. Like this scarcity where it feels like, oh, you know, there's not a lot of stuff out there. And it's like, I feel like for us to have been created on earth, as much as our population is, I do feel like if things are left the way they are, we still have enough stuff to actually take care, to survive all of us. Because at the same time, the way the people are being born every day, that's the same way a lot of people actually going and getting old and actually dying. You know, because some people actually keep complaining about the organic food. I have actually seen some food that is being sold for higher prices, and I'll tell you that it's organic. But genuinely speaking, after, if you are someone who have tasted organic food, I think sometimes when you just eat some that are not organic, but you are told that it's actually organic, you can tell. Like, it's not that difficult to actually tell. Like, I can just taste it and I know. So I feel like sometimes they would just make it like that and just, you know, say, oh, this is organic. I think it's really very sad to see that you're eating and you're very scared of actually having cancer, because you can see that in some places where people actually eat well, you rarely see them have all this type of diseases. There are some illness that actually, when I hear the names, I'm like, oh really? Like, it's just weird. Anyways guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching this video to the very end. I really appreciate you. Don't forget to click the like button, it helps with the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about this video. I would love to see that. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.